Give a cheer as you see the banners of our Viking armies arriving in the arena right this moment. Two armies who will be battling each other for your entertainment this afternoon. Now I should tell you there are still some 250 tickets left for this evening's performance. This afternoon's battle is very much an opportunity for our reenactors to warm up, sharpen their wits and their weapons and their combat skills, ready for tonight's Viking Games. So I can see our armies coming into the arena. Give them a cheer! So I can see Athelstan leading one contingent of warriors. Now, for the purpose of this afternoon, we have two armies, the boars and the serpents. And I can see the white serpent banner, I think, being held aloft. No, hold the banner aloft, you silly man, not the sword. That's it. That's right, do it properly. So that's the serpent banner for one side of our armies. Who will cheer for? The serpents or their deadly foes? Who will take a position on the other side of the arena? Now you may well have noticed that this battlefield has something of an obstruction in the middle, in the shape of a large tree. Now when we started doing this festival many years ago, that was not a large tree. So the serpents taking their position, waving the banner to call the troops to their lines. Where is the opposing army? Where is their banner? Who knows? So, ladies and gentlemen, all of our warriors on this battlefield are volunteers. They do this for the passion of the period of the Viking Age. And they are not wearing costume armour, they are wearing solid steel mail shirts and solid steel helmets, which weigh just as much, if not more, than the originals, and certainly give the protection of the originals. Now this afternoon will be a It's the wild boar that the warrior would test his courage against, while the serpent represents Jorvik, the Midgard serpent, who winds its coils around the earth. A very powerful totemic figure indeed for warriors to fight under. So now our commanders are arranging their troops for battle. And this is somewhat difficult with this tree in the middle of the battle because it's going to split their armies, of course. So obviously none of this is rehearsed, these commands are being given in earnest. And the commanders need to know their job. They need to use proper tactics and put the right warriors in the right place. So let's look at the weapons our warriors have got. There are three principal weapons here. The spear. Now obviously that is a very advantageous weapon because it keeps you a long way from the enemy. A sharp spear can burst through mail rings, can be absolutely deadly. And the wonderful thing about spears is they are relatively cheap, as indeed are axes. Now axes are best thought of as sharp hammers, and they can be deadly in close quarters, but of course you have to get in close quarters, and the spears are going to try and stop you doing that. And then of course the iconic weapon of the entire medieval period, the sword. And the very holding, the very owning of a sword marks each warrior as a man of substance, because a sword was a very, very expensive item indeed. Likewise, wearing a mail shirt would put you in the upper ranks of any army. But of course, the principal piece of armour you want is the helmet, because most of the blows would be aimed at the head. Luckily, none of our warriors on the field today are going to try and kill each other. Are you? No one's going to try and kill each other, right? I want a nice clean punch, nice clean fight, no kicking or punching. So, I think our armies are ready. Are you ready, ladies and gentlemen? Serpents, are you ready? Boars, are you ready? Again, we will leave it to the commanders to sound the advance. You see the shield war advancing, shields overlapping. This is exactly how battles were fought in the Viking period. And here they go, the willows joining. You can see a buckle in the shield war already, the boars pushing through. And that's what it's all about, breaking the shield wall. And then once you've broken it, cutting down the warriors. But it looks like the serpents are holding that breach. And gazing at each other across the shield's rim, marking the men that they now intend to kill. Enough of testing their shield wall, enough of testing their metal. Now, let's muster our strength, let's go forward. And let us deal death, my friends, amongst this hated foe. So do we get a roar from the serpent? So the serpent's ready to kill. Are the boars ready to kill or go to Valhalla? And so now the decisive clash. This is where we find out who will win this strife. Now we shall see bodies strewn upon the field. Now we shall see wounds taken and wounds given. Serious now. This is a contest. We do not know what the outcome of this will be. Give a cheer for the serpents as they go forward. A decisive attack, almost running into contact. And the balls pressing around the serpent's flank and even breaking through. But it's crossed them. We can see men falling. Will the serpents hold that flank? As you can see, when the shield wall has been disrupted, it becomes chaos, a melee. Axe blows are dealt, spear thrusts into falling men. And it appears the serpent banner is still holding, although the banner man is virtually unprotected. In this chaos, can we figure out who is winning? Take down the men. No heroics here, not in this court, not on this field. There is no chivalry. So give them a cheer, ladies and gentlemen, as they gather their wits and their weapons. Now these reenactors, many of them have come all across the country to come and do this today. And this is the bit of the day they enjoy most, I know that, so much as we enjoyed that battle, we're going to make them do it again. Only we'll save their energy, gentlemen. Straight to kills, please. But as soon as you're ready, catch your breath, reform your lines, and once more prepare for battle. And this time I'm going to try and figure out who won. It was the Boars. So they must be keen, they're already on their feet, ready for another fight. You give them a cheer, ladies and gentlemen. Boys and girls, shout out. Who are you going to cheer for? The Serpents? They'll be looking for victory, are you going to cheer for the Boars? So as I said, these things are completely competitive. It's entirely down to the good nature and the honour of the warriors on the field to accept that they've received a killing blow and retire from the fight. Woe betide the warrior that doesn't, because he's likely to get picked on. And our warriors this afternoon, I should say, all come from great groups in the early medieval period. We have local boys from Yoffers Hall, we have the Vikings and Regular and Glorum all joining together for this fight. Here they go! Give them a cheer as they go to contact! Oh, they stride forward purposely enough, but it's something to stop, don't they? And I can see warriors down already on one flank. I can see the shield wall being broken up. Furious fighting going on. And I can see one of the Serpents being hacked to pieces by the Boars, who have broken around the rear of the fight. These Boars certainly know their stuff. Disrupted the enemy's shield wall, they're staying together as a group and cutting down the stragglers. That is how it's done. So as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, despite our thinking about the Vikings as furious barbarians, they were actually extremely disciplined troops. And there's strong evidence for large training camps at places like Trelleborg in Denmark. There are no two ways about it. The Viking armies that numbered in their thousands that invaded Britain, certainly during the 10th century, were highly organised and trained troops. And of course with their ships highly mobile. This made it very difficult for the Saxons to catch up with them and force them to battle. And that's just how the Vikings liked it. So they formed in the shield wall formation, each man protecting his shield brother, his shield companion, as the poetry of the day would have it. And each man taking care to measure his might, measure his furiosity. Because the man who goes forward too much endangers his comrades. So we're going to get some water, tying their lost shoelaces, gather their breath before the final climactic battle this afternoon, where we shall see who will have the advantage of the day. And all of this a great warm-up for tonight's Viking Games, which will finish with a slightly more organised capture the flag contest. And tickets for tonight's performance are still available from the Jorvik Viking Festival website and will be up until 5 o'clock. So do check out that website and come back and see the Viking Games this evening. So we will have 4 teams pitching themselves against each other in this, the first of our Viking Games contest. So as soon I can see the boars are up on their feet already, spoiling for a fight, while the servants are still getting a drink. So, as the beating of shields commences from the boars, tempting their enemy to battle, who will you cheer for this final fight? Will it be the serpents? Or will you cheer for the wild boars? Wild, they're absolutely livid. So warriors, form your lines, get ready for battle. One last time in the shield wall. One more chance for glory. One final chance to gain today's victory. Is right-handed, because all of the weapons are in the right hand. That means that the right flank is the more aggressive flank. But in this case, the Serpent's right flank has stopped. They've tried to press forward, but it's failed. It's not going well for them. And now both sides, now roughly equal. Their commander is down on the board side. Now, trying not to trip around the flank, buckle the shield wall and think they've done it. But no, the serpents are simply revolving the shield wall. You can see that brave serpent banner holder keeping his flag aloft. Very useful for keeping the troops in order. And no, nothing else. If all else fails and there's confusion, you can run to the banner and take the banner. Once again, looking like a Pyrrhic victory, but whoever wins, both sides have fought well, both sides have lost huge numbers. It's a testament to how well balanced these two sides are in terms of their strength and skill. Well done, everybody. And now once more I call upon the dead to rise. Quite right, give them a cheer, ladies and gentlemen. This is exhausting stuff, particularly if you're wearing that heavy armour. And of course, we must remember that we haven't been doing a lot of this lately for obvious reasons. So it's very well fought by all of our warriors who had a couple of seasons off. So they are going to gather their breath and then come forward and talk to you people at the crowds for a little bit, but we will be fighting again because we've seen that the battles of the armies, what we haven't tested is the strength of the individual warriors, which we will do shortly with the Circle of Treachery, where we will fight until the last warrior standing. So that Circle of Treachery in a few minutes. I'll let you get your breath back. Do feel free to chat to the public while you're resting. And in a few minutes we shall find out who will be the individual champion of the day. So the Viking invaders, ladies and gentlemen, really came in 3 waves. And we tend to think more about the first wave of Vikings that attacked at places like Portland in 789, Lindisfarne in 793, where it's really just a couple of ships of raiders plundering monasteries, pinching what they could, taking slaves. But it did not continue that way. Within a few decades, those groups of raiders and ships became armies. And so, by the end of the 8th century, by the end of the 9th century, Alfred the Great was facing hosts of armies that were coming in, taking out kingdoms. And of course, the first kingdom they took was right here, destroying the Anglian kingdom of Northumbria, sweeping down to kill the King of East Anglia, St. Edmund, sweeping into Mercia, which they took over and overran, and then finally attacking Wessex. And of course, Alfred the Great, the King of Wessex, fought back up against the Vikings and established the Danelaw, splitting the country in two. Now, over the course of the 10th century, Alfred's descendants clawed back that lost territory until we get to around the 770s, when England becomes a state, a single state under one king. No more Kingdom of Wessex, no more Kingdom of East Anglia or Northumbria or Mercia. One kingdom, one king. And before they could celebrate that unity, the Vikings were back. And Ethelred the Unready, not unready, unready, the ill-counselled, was on the throne when the real storm happened. In the 990s, massive Viking armies invaded every year. We are talking armies equally as large as those that William the Conqueror brought over at the Battle of Hastings. Hundreds of ships, armies 10,000 strong, roving across the country, destroying everything in their path. And they did this not for 1 year, ladies and gentlemen, they did this for over 2 decades, for over a generation, till the Saxon kingdom was so broken that they submitted to a Viking king. Svein Forkbeard chased Ethelred the Unready out of the kingdom, but before he could put the crown on his head, he was dead, and his son Canute became our Viking king. Now I see our warriors are back on the field. Give them a cheer. There are some that are ready for glory, and that should be a hint to the others. So warriors, if you are going to take part in the circle of treachery, you have 10 seconds to get on the field. Any weapon, no rules, to fight to the last warrior standing. So, ladies and gentlemen, choose your champion. If you saw someone fighting in a battle you like the look of how they swung their sword or axe or spear, then follow their course through this tense combat. As I say, there are no rules. You can join up with others, form teams, break alliances, stab people in the back, do whatever you need to do to survive and win, just as the Vikings would have done. Swords are held aloft. So, warriors, commence! Now, if you watch this combat, you'll see that one-on-one, the absolute aim is to get past that shield. The shield was hugely important. And the top warriors may even have a man standing next to them with another shield, whose sole job is to employ a second shield to protect his lord. You see that one-on-one, the sword has an advantage. It has an advantage over the axe. It's got better reach. It's more flexible. And we can see one warrior with a spear. Now, spears are good in the shield wall, not so good in individual fighting. Once your enemy has got past the tip, you are very vulnerable. So it's no surprise as we get to the final few warriors, they're pretty much all armed with the sword. warriors. Now each warrior looking around each other, who can I trust not to stab me in the back? Now these swords all weigh around 3.5 pounds, the same weight as Viking swords. They're heavier because they have a thick edge, so obviously they're not sharp. So they're a pretty good replication of how the real weapons were.
Come on, get him! Come on.
And another warrior hacked down. As we come to the final 4. No, 5. Still someone can't find a dance partner. So, the last 3 standing. So that needs a tacit agreement that we'll use a bit of honour here. And the third person won't stab someone in the back. And so here we are down to the final 2. Now, July.
Come on! All people!
So we've got a blue shield against a blue and red shield. Both from the same group, I suspect.
Come on!
So here we go for the final.
That's it!
So I suspect these 2 warriors know each other pretty well. Look at the speed that sword is moving at. But they have to strike the body, they cannot strike the head for obvious reasons. Neither can they strike the lower arm or the lower leg. They've got to get past that shield and get the convincing blow on the body. And that is not easy. You see, one warrior has opted for a smaller shield. And that gives him greater offensive capability. And one, we have a winner. Oh, you've won. Let it go.
He's still moving!
So, we have a red-headed Viking warrior. Give them a cheer, ladies and gentlemen. The champion of Jorvik this afternoon. So thank you all for attending. Now, as I say, this is the part of the day that is very much for the warriors, so that they can enjoy themselves doing what they love. Have you enjoyed yourselves, ladies and gentlemen? Well, if you'd like to enjoy yourselves some more, do remember there are still tickets left over, a few tickets left for this evening's performance, the Viking Games, and they can be obtained from the Jorvik Viking Festival website. Now, I will ask the warriors, your attention please, do you want to do one more final circle of treachery, or have you had enough? Put your sword up if you want to fight again. Okay, we'll do one more for those that want to. If you're tired, have a good sit down, you've earned it. So I mentioned already, ladies and gentlemen, that you need to measure your might in battle, as Odin might have put it in the Hafamar, the poetic Edda, which contains the wisdom of Odin. Every man should measure his might, lest his foe prove fiercer than he. In other words, don't go in all hot-headed. Now, as I've said, in these battles, they need to protect their energy as much as anything else. When they fight, they get tired. Getting tired will get you killed. And so combat of this time was as much a matter of stamina as it was of skill. Of course, the last battle that we consider the last battle of the Viking Age in England was the Battle of Stamford Bridge, just 8 miles east of York. And that, of course, was followed by the Battle of Hastings a few weeks later, which lasted pretty much from dawn to dusk. So you have to imagine just how exhausted the warriors were after some 9 hours of battle. And you can be the best swordsman in the world, but if you're exhausted, you'll die just like the poor peasant next to you. So warriors, raise your swords if you're ready. We shall commence the last circle of treachery. Lay on! Now, it's got to be said, ladies and gentlemen, we usually fight in these battles in February, but of course, circumstances in the last couple of years have caused us to replan. And so now we're doing it in the heat of May, and that changes things for our warriors as well. Really not used to fighting on this battlefield in warm weather. Stay! Now those mail shirts weigh around 15 pounds for taking the trouble to do that. Yeah. Don't worry boys, I'm with you, right? I feel you. So we see that loose alliances are being formed to whittle the field down. But you can't trust them, not these Vikings. They'll be shaking your hand 1 minute, giving you a wink, next minute, a sword in your back. Now you look at the spearman, armed only with a helmet and his spear, light with flag, very wise, but he needs to be fast, he needs to move. And one warrior wielding the great broad axe. Now again, that's a weapon that we simply cannot use in a reenactment context the way the gods intended. It is so fearsome a weapon. One of the first medieval super weapons designed to cleave and crush through armor, smash through helmets. Weapon of absolute offense, and also useful for hooking shields, pulling them out of the way. Now, that axeman is doing great work with that. And we've still we have our champion from the last fight still on his feet. And I'm impressed by that because winning takes a lot more energy than losing. Who are you going to cheer for, ladies and gentlemen? The Axeman or the Swordsman? I want to put money on this. And it's the Swordsman. But let's get a great cheer for that courageous Axeman. the one-on-one combat as well, he knows, but he did very, very well with it. As did all of our warriors. Let's give them a massive cheer as for the last time this afternoon I caught up the dead true rise. So warriors, gather your wits and your weapons. Please do go to the edges of the arena. Chat to your adoring fans. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your chance to feel the heft of a sword and marvel at how fast those things move in the hands of these warriors. Feel how surprisingly heavy the helmets are, and have a close look at that mail armour. In the meantime, one final reminder, we will be back here this evening at 6:45 for the first ever Jorvik Viking Games. And there are still a few tickets left for what promises to be very entertaining and a lot of fun. And you can obtain them from the Jorvik Viking Festival website. In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, may your gods be with you. And we shall see you again.
Right, okay. And then after that we're going to go back to that's why we do it.
Yeah, now it's going to say something right in now.
Anything you say, John.